Hey guys, so today's video is going to be pertaining on the Mustang as I have some type of misfire. So if this is your first time checking out the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's see what's wrong with it. Like So I was finally able to get a reading on my scanner, and we got a misfire in cylinder 3, and then these are the O2 sensors under the car. And as well guys, this is going to be a two-part video. The first section is going to be really quick, just showing you how to replace one coil, and then you could watch the rest of the video if you like to get a full representation of how long this is going to take. This is a quick shot of all the tools that we used. So you're going to need a flathead screwdriver, 2 sets of ratchets, you're going to need your 10mm, you're going to need an extension, you're going to need 2 5/8 here. One is a spark plug socket and one is not. Then you're going to need your 7mm socket, then an Allen key, and then this anti-seize lubricant for the spark plugs. The 7mm guy here is going to be the one that you're going to be using for all of the bolts on the coil packs, and your 10mm is going to be for the battery terminal. And another video here for frame of reference on the cylinder patterns. This coil here, so that's going to be cylinder 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we got 5, 6, 7, 8 over here. And that's the passenger side of the car, and that's the driver side of the car for US spec New Edge Mustangs. So this is me really jumping into just taking everything apart, getting ready to figure out what exactly is wrong. Just make sure you disconnect your battery before you start playing with all your clamps and clips. I have the intake tube adjusted. I'm gonna set these guys to the side. So after I removed this, I moved up to the 2 pipes right here on the air intake. Just unscrew? Okay. So try to carefully remove these 2 guys. This one's unscrewing, so I'm just gonna unscrew him. Normally you could just pull it off like this one, but don't want to break these brittle hoses. That's here. Hopefully, after I disconnect this guy, I can... And right there, underneath the intake, you can see the sensor that I was talking about when I said that little guy. So make sure to remove that sensor from the bottom of the air intake. Move it up enough so I can get that coil out without having to take this whole thing off. If so, I'll do it, but this here was a pain in the butt, if anybody knows, with these BBK 78mm throttle bodies. So as you can see, the socket is just wedged right in there. It's very close to the fuel rail, but you do not need to remove the fuel rails when taking out the coil packs. So after you break it loose with the 7mm socket, and you could just undo it by hand. Set that aside with your other screws. Clip here. So for the connectors on the coil packs, make sure you pinch the little tab on the bottom and you can pull it right out. With a little bit of wiggling, we were able to move that coil pack out from cylinder number 3. Okay guys, so now I'm heading back to the house. I got 1 new coil pack and I have 8 spark plugs. Because, as you saw, the spark plug did not look pretty, so I'm guessing, sadly, they haven't been changed, even though I thought they were. So, I'll see you guys back at the house. This is anti-seize grease I'm putting on the threads of the spark plugs. Make sure you put a little bit, not too much, and then rub it in with your finger. This will definitely help you when you have to change your spark plugs next time.
Yeah, the little, when it dropped.
After you drop the spark plug in, you're going to hear that little clink. Then I would recommend you turning the spark plug counterclockwise. Then after it's on the threads, turn it clockwise so you don't strip anything. And then as you just saw, my stepdad was able to pull out the plug, even though it's a little tight with the rubber around the throttle body, but the plug came out and then we put in the new spark plug and everything went right back in. Just starting it after the one new coil pack. So now the second half of the video is replacing the rest of the spark plugs in the GT here. So just remember, this screw is going to come out of here, right on the manifold, if you can see that. Make sure when you're taking these clips out, you got two little plastic clips on the side here that you want to pinch to get it out. And you got 1, 2, so I got the 2 screws out for coil pack number 1, coil pack number 2, coil pack number 3, right here we already did. So now I'm going to try to move on to number 4. And when you're doing this, try not to push down too hard on everything, as this is brittle plastic from a 20-year-old Ford. So make sure that you're doing it carefully. With an extension. There we go. Now we're at the point where we should be able to. So at this section in the video, I'm still taking out all the 7mm screws that are holding on the coil packs, jiggling them around a little bit just to kind of move them out from underneath the fuel rail, making sure everything is unclipped, and then I bounce over to the other side. I'm doing this because I'm first disconnecting all of the coils, and then I'm going to pull everything out to do the spark plugs. So now this is just a sped up process of going through cylinders 5 through 8. So as you saw in that little time lapse, I got each of the screws off, all the clips disconnected. Now I'm going to pull the coil packs to do the spark plugs.
Should be a little bit of an angle.
Did I just...
Yep, that's it.
It's supposed to be that much resistance?
Shouldn't be that much resistance.
I don't want to snap it.
That was a little too tight.
Okay. So as you can see, make sure to play it safe when you're taking out the spark plugs, because some of them are a lot tighter than others and you definitely don't want to break the plugs. This is another example of why you should use that anti-seize grease when putting in new plugs. And then it's going to come to a point where you should be able to twist it just with your fingers and you don't need to use the ratchet.
Is it still resistant? Oh, you got it. I just like drop it in. Yep.
In the groove, right? Then go this way with my hand, and see, now I got it. Now you can feel the difference. Feel it. See how it's got some.
Yeah.
So now put it back on and you can tighten.
How tight do you need it?
You want it tight, but you don't need it super tight like they had it.
And now that is just an explanation of how to make sure the spark plug is in the threads, explained by my stepdad Tom.
See that little more I went? millimeter socket is mine too. Don't get comfortable with it in your toolbox.
And there we go. That pop was me breaking spark plug number 6 loose. Don't forget your anti-seize grease. Gonna close the garage here so we don't hear all the crickets, but I just wanted to end the video here. Let's wait for this. There we go. So I just wanted to end the video here. Thank you very much for checking out how to fix a misfire with a coil pack and new spark plugs. After everything, it's running great. And in total, for how long this job would take, I would say like an hour and a half if you're dedicated and just like mechanically inclined. For myself, it took us about 2 days because we were trying to diagnose exactly what the issues were and going back and forth, and then I had to run to the parts store to get the new coil and the 8 spark plugs. So for us, it was about a weekend. Nothing crazy though. And one more thing, I know I keep walking around the garage, but I got to give a special shout out and a thank you to my extra set of hands, my stepdad Tom. I know you guys have probably seen him in a couple of other videos, but without him today, I would not have been able to get the Mustang back together, so thank you to him. As well, you guys have probably heard this before, but please comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure to check out my other videos on the channel on the very dusty and dirty Mustang. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye!